As About Space Today begins the new year, we want to welcome our many new listeners, and we want to let you know that About Space Today is heard each Tuesday and Friday and begins airing at 12 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and it's never too early to listen to About Space Today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
This is About Space, America's return to space, with news and information on our U.S. space program. Is your host of About Space, David Denault.
Welcome and thanks for joining me today. The James Webb Telescope has showcased images of the stairways to the heavens that no one has ever seen before. While the public has been transfixed on how many new galaxies and stars, it has caused a panic among some astronomers. One of the growing concerns for these new images is that it has begun to produce papers that might be indirectly stating that the Big Bang Theory has been debunked, which would be massively heartbreaking for many people. I'll have more on the Big Bang Theory next, as America and the world is listening to About Space Today. D&D Cruise and Tours is the official agent for About Space, and we invite you to come fly away to all-inclusive resort island destinations, or a cruise vacation from Port Canaveral, and even visit the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, or just come and see the parks. Call for a discount cruise or an island getaway or the Florida beaches. Call today. The call is free, and so are our services. Call 877-747-8631. That's 877-747-8631. We are Florida's group travel specialists. Welcome back. Many scientists have been studying these new images and determining evidence that has stood for many years. The Big Bang Theory essentially states that the universe began some 14 billion years ago, in an incredibly hot and dense state that has been expanding ever since. The new evidence would debunk the Big Bang Theory in a big way, as the initial idea is the universe exploded into existence and began to expand. With more is astronomer Michelle Tuller.
Alyssa, you have asked one of the best questions in all of astronomy. The Big Bang was the start of our universe. So where was the locale? Where did the Big Bang actually happen? And what I really love about this question is it gives me a chance to kind of talk about some of the misperceptions we have about the Big Bang. Now, when you hear the term Big Bang, that implies an explosion. And we all know how explosions work from our experience. Things actually fly out from a common center. And one of the things is that scientists really don't like describing the Big Bang as an explosion at all. That sort of sets you up in the wrong direction right away, because you could imagine that there are galaxies all flying apart away from each other, away from a common center, and flying out into empty space. And the universe we observe is absolutely nothing like that. For example, the whole volume of the universe that we can see with the Hubble Space Telescope, we can see to a distance of nearly 13 billion light years. All of that volume is filled with galaxies. There is no empty center to the universe. And the other thing that we don't observe, and we're pretty sure that nobody else ever could either, is being on the edge of that, being on a galaxy right on the edge of expansion and seeing all of the galaxies in one direction because you're looking inside and nothing but empty space on the outside. Space never looks like that. All around us we see galaxies. The universe is filled with them. So what's really going on here? And this really gets at the crux of what the Big Bang was. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion of matter. It was an expansion of space itself. So that simply means that any amount of space in the universe is expanding. And everything is getting farther away from everything else. I know that's very hard to visualize. Some people talk about blowing up a balloon. And this always, to me, can put you in the wrong direction because they say, aha, a balloon has an empty center and everything expands away from it. What they haven't told you is you need to pay attention just to the surface of the balloon. Pretend that there's no such thing as inside or outside the balloon, just the two-dimensional surface of the rubber. As you blow into it, that expands in every direction. If you were to draw little points on the surface of the balloon, every little point would start getting farther away from every other little point. But if you were a two-dimensional creature that could only travel on the surface of the balloon, you could only shine a light, you couldn't possibly even know about what's up or what's down. If you were completely two-dimensional, you would see every point expanding away from every other point, but there'd be no empty center. So the question is, in our three-dimensional universe, do we need another dimension to expand into if this is the case? And the answer, honestly, is no. Space itself can simply get larger. We don't know the extent of the entire universe. If you want to think of the universe instead of the surface of a balloon as a big rubber sheet, you can just keep stretching that rubber sheet. Stretching it apart, everything's getting farther and farther away from each other, but there's no empty center. There's still rubber everywhere you go, and that rubber is just getting bigger. Now, we are pretty sure there's no edge to the universe. Is the universe infinite? We honestly don't know. Maybe the universe does have some larger shape that we're not aware of. But the thing to really remember is that there is no empty center. The Big Bang happened at every point in space. All of space began to expand at once. And so that means that we look out into the distant universe and we see pretty much all of the galaxies moving away from us. And if you point at any galaxy you want in the sky and put yourself there, you would see everything expanding away from you, because space itself is expanding. There is no empty center to the universe.
The Big Bang Theory was initially devised in 1931. Should it be debunked, it would cause scientists to rethink their entire careers. Those who have rejected the idea of God, but adopted the Big Bang, would then have to ask themselves, where did all of these galaxies come from? And join me next week, Creation versus Evolution, with Dr. Kent Hobart. And as a reminder, join Dawn Meyer this Friday for another America in Space program, and have your family and friends join us each week. Follow us on Facebook at AboutSpace.today for launches and landings. And to all our listeners around the globe and here in the U.S., thanks for joining me today. I'm David Denault, and this has been About Space Today.